Is misplaced emphasis a form of mispronunciation? I was speaking with someone today and he brought up the TV show, South Park, and he emphasized the park, whereas most people, and the show itself, I believe, emphasize the word South. This got me thinking, is putting the emphasis on the wrong word considered a form of mispronouncing a phrase? I realize that the correct way to say a word or phrase is pretty subjective, especially considering dialects, but I guess the question can be limited to consider different emphasis within one dialect.
I suspect it's an artifact of treating the title as a single word. In English, most words of 2 syllables have the emphasis on the first syllable.
Consider the word Catholic, for example. If you put the stress on the second syllable, as it is in Catholicism, I think you will find very few people happy with your pronunciation. So, yes, misplaced emphasis or stress can lead to significant mispronunciation. On the other hand, we have words like controversy, where the stress may come on either the first or the second syllable. An anal few like to argue for one or other pronunciation of that one, but most of us accept them both, and some even say both without particularly noticing. So, no, not always.
Well, as the saying goes, you put the accent on the wrong syllable. That is a form of mispronunciation, but if everyone is mispronouncing something, then it's not really a mispronunciation. And if half of the people pronounce it one way and the other half pronounce it another way, then it's just a variant. But yeah, if your friend pronounces the show South Park, then he should be flogged. Or at least ridiculed. Or maybe just tolerated. Some people honestly don't hear the difference in pronunciations. The heavy Brooklyn accent, which swaps bad for boyd but pronounces toilet as toilet, gave rise to this misunderstanding I read about some years ago. A teacher from the Midwest got a job teaching at an elementary school in Brooklyn. She took the children on a field trip to the zoo, where they viewed, among other animals, a bald eagle. Do you know what that is? The teacher asked her students. One little boy spoke up. Sure, Mrs. Eisner. It's a boyd, not quite, the teacher said, determined to teach good pronunciation. Tell me if that's a bird. Oh, the child replied. I thought it was a boyd. That's not really about emphasis, but it illustrates the point that different people pronounce words differently. Also different groups. The British say Bernard while Americans say Bernard. Neither is wrong, it's merely a difference among groups. Except for the Indian guy I work with who says, oh no, I do not like vegetables, he's just wrong. I don't care if a billion people pronounce it like that, it's still wrong. And in case you haven't sussed it out yet, I'm kidding.
If the question is, does stress crucially affect meaning in English, then the answer is yes. In a sentence, putting stress on various words affects the meaning. I don't love you. Rather, I love someone else. I don't love you. Rather, I simply like you. In each English word, the stress is lexicalized. Some words have syllable final stress. Around, sustain, degree, parade, withhold. Some words have penultimate stress. Better, fashion, payment, differ. Some have antepenultimate stress. Macintosh. And so on. Legislature. Many words are crucially distinguished by the stress, such as these noun and verb forms of words. You record a song and play it on a record. You insert an insert into a book. When numbers increase, you see an increase. Also, more closely related to your example, we normally have different stress patterns in how we pronounce set phrases versus ad hoc adjective-noun combinations. For example, if I say blackboard, I place primary stress on the first syllable, black. This will evoke the image of a slate on the wall that you write on with chalk. But if I am actually talking about a board, say, made of wood, that has been painted black, I would call it a blackboard, placing primary stress on board. Likewise, the word South Park, as a set phrase, is generally stressed on the first syllable. Not all common phrases take on this stress pattern, and not every one of these types of phrases have taken on the same status for everyone. You will find that most speakers will conform to these rules almost all the time, although a word or phrase here and there might be treated differently by a given speaker or dialect region. For example, around here I hear people say the noun permit with stress on the secondary syllable. I only use that stress for the verb form. So, these are the facts. Whether or not any deviation is considered a mispronunciation is, as you say, subjective.
you want to support the channel, please consider liking and subscribing.